whole 10 yards. Gators, Seminoles, Hurricanes, and a recap of the biggest games in college football. Brought to you by Sears of Jacksonville. With your hosts, Clayton, Adrien, Matt, and Wale.
What's up, college football fans? The college football offseason has put in its 2 weeks' notice, and by my count, there are 11 days until the season starts. Also, by my count, we have 3 co-hosts with me today. I'm your host, Clayton Tinkle, here on the whole 10 yards, brought to you by Sears of Jacksonville on 1010XL 92.5 FM. With me today, as will be weekly, Adrien Wade, former 1010XL producer, Matt Ziegler, my partner over at asun.tv, and Wale Olaogun of the Jacksonville Sharks. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Doing pretty good.
Check it in. I'm here, man. Let's do this.
Tommy over in the booth. We appreciate you being here, Tommy.
What's going on, guys?
Not much. We're going to dive in today. We've got some college football preview show going on for you guys. Jock West Green's going to join us around the 10 o'clock hour for you Gator fans. Coley Harvey to talk some ACC. Rodney Orr for some SEC. Also, we're going to have some Heisman predictions, games of the year candidates, contenders, pretenders segment. The AP poll came out yesterday. Alabama ranked number 1. Do you guys have any reaction to the AP poll?
Alabama. Wait, the University of Alabama, they play football there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They must be pretty good.
They're okay. I mean, 2 national championships in a row. We'll jump in right into contenders and pretenders, I think. Ohio State 2, Oregon 3, Stanford 4. All 6 SEC teams that are in the poll are in the top 12, with LSU at 12. The infamous Florida Gators at 10 for the season. Do you think that's too high for them?
Florida at 10 is way too high. I'm sorry. I would put them probably at 13, 14.
Okay, so you have them down there with Oklahoma State and Notre Dame.
You just lost a lot of fans.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I am a Gator fan, but when they've got to show me something on offense this year. That's really the biggest issue because defensive-wise, I think they're going to be sound. Offensively, it really all falls on the running game and Jeff Driscoll to see if he can progress as a quarterback this year.
Adrien?
Florida at 10 is definitely a little too high. They overachieved last year with their 11-2 record. But questions on offense, it's definitely going to plague them all year, I think.
Well, they had an open practice on Thursday. Demarcus Robinson was said to look pretty good down in Gainesville. Some freshman receivers are going to have to step up this year for them to succeed. We'll talk more about that when Jock West Green joins us around 10 o'clock again. But, Matt, do you think they're overrated? Do you think that offense is going to be able to step up?
I think they're overrated in terms of if you're looking at their production from last season and carrying it over. With a new year, though, I think Jeff Driscoll really has a chance to put it together. I think they're rated too high right now, but I could see them ending the season in the top 10. So maybe for right now, we should hold off 12 or 13. I'm trying to gain all of Wally's followers that just left him. No, I'm here, Gator fans. I'm here for you. And I'll tell you what, if they still had a receiver like Jock West Green on that depth chart, I'd have a little more confidence in them right now. But
Matt's got a bromance going on with Jock West Green. He's a huge fan.
I'm a big Buccaneers fan,
right? And
so if I could take it to the NFL for a second, I had a lot of good times, a lot of good memories watching him play for us. So if that means I'll root for the Gators, so be it.
Well, just Jock West Green though, not the Gators.
Well,
we can only have one Gator fan in here at a time.
Okay.
Moving on in the SEC though, Georgia cracked the top 5 at 5. Ohio State again, we mentioned it 2. Miami was not in the top 25. A lot of people thought they should have been, though. What do you guys think?
I think it's a travesty not having Miami in the top 25. They showed a lot of good things last year, and they have a young squad, a lot of returning players, and Stephen Morris has put in the work this offseason. He won the Manning Passing Academy, and I think they're going to be pretty good.
For what that's worth, I mean, the Manning Passing Academy, Johnny Manziel went. So.
Yeah, he didn't win it.
He couldn't handle it.
Yeah, he obviously couldn't handle it.
He didn't even wake up for it.
So I think the consensus here is that Miami should be in the top 25. I don't have them in the top 10 or anything. Matt?
They should be in the top 25, but if you look at Notre Dame last year, Notre Dame didn't start the season in the top 25, ended up playing the national title game. So I think Miami doesn't have to worry about it. If anything, it's going to help bond them together as a team, kind of give them that everyone against us attitude. And Stephen Morris, I like him. I like him a lot, and I think this is the year he starts to really shine.
I think if Miami is going to win the games this year, it's going to be in the offensive side of the ball. They're not going to hold people to 3, 10, 14 points.
Free Duke Johnson. That's all I got to say. Free Duke Johnson. That boy is going to go off this year.
See, everybody says that. I'm not sure if he just comes out of nowhere. I mean, it's not out of nowhere because he was a freshman last year.
He was a freshman last year and put up ridiculous stats.
But I feel like a lot of defenses are going to key on him, though, because that's all the hype down there in Miami.
Yeah, but then you've got Stephen Morris who can sling it all over the field, man. So it should open that offense up a lot.
They've got a big game in week 2. Unfortunately, it's noon on a Saturday, which is terrible, against Florida. So Florida, again, we've said they are overrated. We think Miami should be rated higher. What's the odds that Miami pulls the quote-unquote upset against the Gators?
Right now, I give it 50-50. I think it's a split decision at this moment.
I'm saying 70-30 Gators.
Oh, okay. It's that faith.
I'm just flat out calling the upset.
I'm not gonna. I'll save it for next week. How about that?
All right.
Because we're gonna do some predictions next week. We got to give the listeners something to come back to. So I'm gonna hold off the prediction.
It'll be a good game, though. I mean, they're not a rivalry in the sense of the Gators and the Seminoles or something like that. But those two teams, they don't really like each other too much. And I hear a lot from Miami fans talking about how Gators are scared to play them and pulled out of the few games the last few years, and all that's going to be put out on the field.
Well, the last time they played in 2008, lost 26-3, and that snapped a 6-game winning streak in the series. So the Hurricanes have owned the series the last time they've played.
Tebow was the quarterback at that time, though. A lot has changed.
Oh, that's true. Well, they don't have any offense, though, now.
Yeah.
So, but no, I think we all agree that Miami should be a little bit higher. Well, it should be even in the poll. I didn't look and see if they received any votes. Florida State, though, checking in at 11, right behind the Gators, just above LSU. Do you guys think that's about right?
I think it's about right. And just looking at how that team has always had the talent, but somehow does not seem to actually, achieve almost anything of merit is a little disappointing. A lot of people are on the fence with Jimbo Fisher. You've got Jameis Winston, who's a freshman quarterback coming in. All reports says he's looking really good until there's live bullets and an actual game to be played. That's all talk. We got to see what he can actually do on the field. So putting him 11 is not terrible, but
I think 11 may be a little generous, actually, and it's coming from a Noles fan. I think that Florida State has, maybe a question at quarterback, having a freshman, but, from sources out in Tallahassee, Jameis Winston is the truth. So, we're going to look forward to seeing him play, but a lot of offseason issues for the Noles, especially on offense. They've lost 7 receivers or tight ends due to off-the-field issues or injuries this offseason. So, a lot of people are going to have to step up on offense. That defense should be stout, though.
Yeah, they were able to pull the defensive coordinator from, Jeremy Pruitt from Alabama. So that defense should have a different look to it. And, hopefully they can do something this year. It would be exciting to see, like, Florida, Miami, Florida State, all the Florida teams in the, higher top 25.
I'm just glad Clemson's ranked ahead of Florida State. That was the only, and I understand that the standings it should be standing alone where you are. You shouldn't have to compare yourself to other teams, but this is Clemson's year in the ACC as far as I'm concerned. And so, with all their returning starters and stuff, I wouldn't have enjoyed seeing Florida State get put ahead of them. Considering Jameis Winston, the reports are great, but let me see what he does on the field. Like you said, when the bullets are really flying. I mean, he chased Clint Trickett out of there. Clint Trickett wanted no part of that competition, so. He must be pretty good, but we've heard a lot of stories about great FSU quarterbacks, Chris Ricks, and
we're gonna go through the list.
We're not gonna go through the list.
Don't go there.
We've gone through the list on a few shows, but
we've got Tommy blushing over here in the booth.
For the Florida State fans, they know what I'm talking about. So no, 11. I think 11's good. It's within striking distance. If they can put together a good run,
they just can't lose to NC State.
Season, no, and they can't lose to Wake Forest either.
Right. I think the consensus, again, amongst us is that if anyone from the ACC is going to have a title run, be it Miami being a long shot, Florida State, Clemson, they almost have to go undefeated.
Yeah.
Unless Clemson loses to a Georgia or one of the bigger teams. But you have to go undefeated because you don't have many teams on your schedule that are going to be ranked high. I mean, obviously Miami might be there by the time they play in November. Wake Forest isn't going to be there. Florida will be at the end for Florida State. But other than that, Clemson is the only other team that's in the top 25 right now for them.
And if they lose to a Georgia, they better hope Georgia goes undefeated.
Right.
And the loss doesn't look so bad.
But again, Florida State, we think they're all about where they need to be. Florida is, I think we all agree, a little bit too high. Miami should be on the poll. What about Georgia at 5? I'm a big fan of the Bulldogs this year. I think that offense is going to be one of the better in the nation. What do you got, Wale? Do you think they're too high, too low?
I'd say
Or is
5
it-
is actually probably right where I'd put them as well. They've got a lot of their offensive starters returning, and you've got Aaron Murray, who is arguably one of the top 5 quarterbacks in all of college football.
Be careful about that, though. A lot of people don't think so.
I see it. I see it, but I'm looking at it also from an NFL prospect standpoint too. So I mean, that may just be my expertise or whatever. But defensively, I do worry. They did lose Jarvis Jones, was a dynamic pass rusher for them. But Georgia's one of those teams that is able to restock and reload with their talent. So I'm not too worried, not too concerned about them. So it just depends to see on how far they can, how well that offense plays. And I guess how Florida progresses when they meet in November. So,
Are you going to call an upset there in November too?
I'm not calling an upset. I'm just saying I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
Adrien, how's Georgia look to you? Is the porridge just right there in Athens?
It is just right.
It's not too hot, not too cold.
No, it's right there. Top 5 is where I would put them this offseason. Like Wale just said, lost a lot on defense, but that offense should be, right there where they were last year, 4 yards away from the SEC championship.
4 yards.
4 yards. So
I can't believe it.
they're going to come back. They're going to be ready to play. I'm definitely excited to see them this year, and I'm not going to call the upset yet, Gator fans. I don't think it would be an upset if Georgia beat Florida anyway. So.
I'm going to go ahead and call it. Georgia rolls in that game. Anywho, Matt.
I like Georgia at 5, but I don't like the fact that Stanford's 4 ahead of them.
Okay.
So if
we can jump out west going.
no, I'm just saying that if how can you have Stanford ahead of Georgia? Georgia was 4 yards away from playing the national title game. Would have inevitably led to a national championship season because there's no way Notre Dame was going to beat Georgia. Aaron Murray, Keith Marshall, Malcolm Mitchell, Todd Gurley, all those guys coming back. Like you said, Wale, they just reload, they restock. They don't have to rebuild. And on top of that, they're pretty upset about last year, I would say. And that's a Georgia team that definitely has a stick in their craw. I think that's how the saying goes. And
I never heard that before.
I don't know. I may have just destroyed that, but yeah, no, Georgia. I think they're a team to definitely look out for. I don't know how Stanford's ahead of them. That's the only part that boggles my mind. But
Wale's raising his hand.
yes.
Yes,
What you
I'm
got?
raising my hand. The reason Stanford is ahead of them is because they are returning a lot of seniors on that defense. And if Kevin Hogan, their quarterback, can put together, the last few games that he put together last season for them, I don't see why they can't be competing for a national title. I really don't.
I'm not a fan of the Pac-12, and
You don't like that air it out football?
nah.
Well,
I'm all
Stanford
about that
isn't
defense.
aired out football by any means. I was watching the new Fox Sports 1 yesterday, and there was several analysts on there who said that if there was a team that could out Alabama, it's Stanford. They do have the most dominant line, I think, offensive line this year in college football. And they don't play like Oregon. They don't play like USC. They don't play like UCLA. They
Pound it.
Yeah,
down
David
your
Shaw wants to
throat.
shove the ball down your throat.
Right.
Well, their leading rusher last year, so Stephon Taylor, 1530. That's how many yards he rushed for. 1,530 yards and 13 touchdowns. He averaged 4.8 yards a carry. That's Alabama-esque.
And like Wale said, they're returning 8 defensive starters. Oregon State is another team out west that's returning a lot. But 8 defensive starters for a defense that was already really good it's pretty impressive. And you've got to give them possibly the upper hand in the Pac-12 North out west.
Well, for me, it's the schedule. I mean, when you're playing San Jose State, Army, Arizona State, Washington, Utah, it's kind of, I'm not too surprised you're putting up those types of numbers. Not to discredit the Pac-12, because I'm not trying to do that either.
I think that's exactly what you did, though.
I am not. I am not at all. All I'm saying is that given the much tougher schedule by Georgia, given
They held Oregon to 14 points last year.
Oregon Schmorgan.
Okay.
Chip Kelly was ready on his way out. Chip Kelly didn't care anymore. He stopped game planning
And it
after
was-
week 4.
Yeah, but we're not insulting the Pac-12 at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. Never.
You guys are ridiculous. No Pac-12 love here on the whole 10 yards.
I've got some for him, man.
Yeah, I do too. But you guys don't agree. But that's not a surprise. Again, you're listening to the whole 10 yards here on 1010XL 92.5 FM, brought to you by Sears of Jacksonville. We're going to jump into some Heisman picks now. We talked about a little bit about one of mine out in UCLA. Wale is over here dancing a little bit. Who do you have winning the Heisman Trophy this year? Give me one.
Teddy Bridgewater out of Louisville.
Okay.
That is my boy right there. Then I just...
We're going to get one from each and then go around the table and discuss. Adrien, what you got?
Taj Boyd representing Virginia.
Well, and Clemson.
Well, he's at
He's
Clemson,
from
but
Virginia.
he's from Virginia.
Gotcha.
That's
You confused
where
me.
I'm from, so.
Matt?
I've been switching around a lot with my Heisman picks. I am going to go with Aaron Murray
Oh.
Okay.
as my final Heisman choice.
Okay.
And only because I've just supported Georgia so much now that I feel like I'm almost obligated to back my boy.
I felt
stay
like
up
that
there.
last year.
I mean, he's got plenty of weapons. I mean, not to take away from his credentials. He's going to do fine, but I think it's going to be a really tight Heisman race. A lot of good QBs, a lot of good running backs too this year, which would be nice to see a running back win it. It's been since Mark Ingram, so it's
like
been a minute.
Anthony Thomas, maybe, out of that Oregon, Smorgan.
Hey, Chip Kelly's gone. Now they can actually start
Right.
playing some football.
My Heisman pick is, it's hard to say because of my loyalty to Michigan, but Braxton Miller is going to tear it up this year.
Someone throw tomatoes at this man.
I
Well,
just
I
finished
don't
eating
dis-
all
I-
mine.
I can't disagree with him though. I mean, he put up a fantastic season, and he was really playing for nothing last year.
Right. And notice none of us had Johnny Manziel. Why do you guys think that is? Is it the off-season trouble? Do you guys think he's just going to drop off after a year of being able to see his tape? What do you guys think?
I don't think he's ready to play football this year, honestly.
Yeah, his mind's not in it.
Johnny Party instead of Johnny Football, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Johnny Party, I like that.
I like that.
That's
Put
not-
that on a
copyright
shirt.
that?
That's not
I
going
like
to
to
stick,
party
though.
with that
Can we
man.
trademark that?
Johnny Party.
But Teddy Bridgewater, I think Louisville would have to go pretty close to undefeated for Teddy to win it. With that schedule is abysmal.
I was gonna say, you make it seem like that's impossible to happen.
Well, no, it's very possible. Cincinnati might be their toughest game for what that's worth.
Or Rutgers.
Well, yeah, Rutgers.
Well,
Rutgers.
I like the fact that Louisville has Michael Dyer now.
Yes, sir.
Right, that's gonna help.
What a
But-
dynamic addition to that offense.
Was he
Touchdown
really
for
down
days.
2 years ago though against Oregon? Did he hit the ground or not?
No, he didn't.
He didn't hit the ground. Okay.
He didn't.
Adrian, your pick is Taj Boyd. Why does Taj Boyd win the Heisman?
Taj Boyd, 38.96 his passing yards last year. 36 touchdowns compared to 13 interceptions. He also had 514 rushing yards. The only numbers that really compare to that are Johnny Manziel's, who did win the Heisman. But if I compare him to other Heisman candidates like Braxton Miller only threw for just barely over 2,000 yards with 15 touchdowns and 6 picks. Although he did have 1,200 yards rushing, but 58% completion percentage. A.J. McCarron, he's a Heisman hopeful. I definitely like Taj Boyd though. Clemson, they're gonna have to go undefeated for him to win it, I think, or a close loss to one of those SEC teams that they play this year. But he definitely has a choice. He's very dynamic.
I think a good game against Clemson and a loss, or a good game against Georgia for Clemson for Taj Boyd and a loss wouldn't hurt him too bad.
Right.
It is Georgia. It's not
Louisville.
Coastal Carolina or anything, or Louisville for that matter. Matt, tell us why Aaron Murray wins the Heisman.
Well, he's been progressing every year since he started as a freshman in 2010. Last year threw for 3,893 yards. His completion percentage has gone up. And I think him and Coach Mark Richt are really on the same page. I think when quarterbacks and their head coaches are completely on the same page in terms of knowing what they have to set out to do this season is national championship or bust. You don't get 4 yards away last year and not just absolutely have a chip on your shoulder to push forward. And like I said, with Gurley and everyone, he has weapons. It's not as if though all of his talent left to the NFL or graduated last year. He's still got plenty of guys around him. And I don't know, I'm a fan of the mental aspect of sports, and I just feel like when you come that close, it's almost like the Titans when they lost that Super Bowl to the Rams by 1 yard. The Titans maintained, and that next year they went back to the playoffs to like the AFC title game. I believe they lost to the Ravens, but it's that same type of mentality. If there's no way Aaron Murray's going to let anyone stop him, and I think whilst he's doing that, he'll win a Heisman.
Just flat out like that, he'll win a Heisman.
He'll win a Heisman, but he's the type of guy where he's not aiming for the Heisman this year. That's why I would say Johnny Manziel can't win, because he's more, because of the offseason, more focused on his individual statistics, not so much team. He talked about, what did he write on Twitter? A 10-3 team, that's what gets you the ladies, or whatever he put. Bro, are you kidding me? Like,
Is that an actual quote? Can we verify that?
it's somewhere in there.
We can find it.
Allegedly. But with that type of attitude, no, you can't win. And I just think Aaron Murray's got his mind in the right place. And, I think a Heisman is in his future, his very near future.
I think a Heisman is in Braxton Miller's future as well.
That's a really good pick, too,
right.
though. I can't hate on that.
I know it is. You don't have to tell me.
because you came up with it.
Right,
obviously.
right, of course.
Hey, do you think if Johnny puts up the same numbers that the voters would vote for him, given all his offseason trouble?
That's a good question. I think the Heisman voters, albeit everywhere, know that it's an on-field thing. I mean, if I had a vote and he had the same numbers, I think I would. Unfortunately.
The way people have been talking about him not representing the Heisman well and everything, leads me to believe that they may not vote for him, even if he puts up the same numbers.
The Heisman Trophy, the whole voting process has become more of a popularity contest than actually what it represents. Best player in college football.
I think we've seen that last year with Mantateo getting even in the consideration. He had an average season at best for a linebacker.
Hold on. It was those interceptions.
Right.
It was those interceptions that really put him above everyone else.
Just want to check in with some Twitter peeps with their Heisman votes. We've got Alan Munger, who thinks that Aaron Murray is going to win the Heisman.
Alan,
so
my man.
He's on your side.
My middle name's Alan, so no surprise there.
We got Chase Carl, C-squared 1709, a close friend of mine, who says it's a long shot, but he's taking Clowney for the Heisman.
No way. Clowney would have to have like 72 sacks to win the Heisman.
I think he can.
Once again, you thinking that's out of the realm of possibility?
But back to Braxton Miller, I think he wins it. The voters have a soft spot for dual
Ohio
threat.
State?
Well, that too. Dual threat guys, I think. Back when Robert Griffin won, I think the voters just gravitate towards that exciting playmaking ability, and their schedule is pretty favorable too this year. So I don't think they'll have to go undefeated just because they have the Big Ten name attached to them. I think he could still win it with 1 or 2 losses. He ran for over 1,000 yards, 1,200 last year, threw for 2,000, 15 touchdowns through the air, 13 on the ground.
Yes.
So he is that offense in an Urban Meyer system like we've seen down here at Florida. That offense runs through the quarterback a lot. When we get back, Jacquez Green is going to join us for some insight in Gainesville on Jeff Driscoll. Also, we will talk to Coley Harvey here soon from the Orlando Sentinel. You listen to the whole 10 yards here on 92.5 FM, 1010XL.
Woo!
When you want to hear the Jaguars, just listen.
One step up the mountain. You want to get that championship, you got to keep climbing. Let's go, Jags on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Get more Jaguars coverage from Jacksonville's sports superstation, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
This is Chip Parker from Parker & Dufresne. Did you know you can save your home through bankruptcy? If you're behind on your mortgage payments and your lender is sending you notifications, let Parker & Dufresne help you modify your mortgage through the Bankruptcy Mortgage Modification Mediation Program. In addition to saving your home, you can restructure car payments and eliminate debt.
To schedule a free consultation, call Jacksonville's Bankruptcy and Foreclosure Defense Team, Parker & Dufresne, 733-7766, or visit jaxlawcenter.com. Office is Jacksonville. Hablamos Español.
Jessica Blaylock for Claude Nolan Cadillac. With fall right around the corner, it's time to come and celebrate the summer's best event with an incredible lease offer going on right now at Claude Nolan Cadillac. Take advantage of a great offer on the all-new 2013 Cadillac ATS. Only $299 a month for 36 months with absolutely no dealer fees. You can also purchase the vehicle for 0% financing for 60 months. 4700 Southside Boulevard, online at ClaudeNolan.com. Remember, don't just drive a Cadillac, drive a Claude Nolan Cadillac.
Each year, more than 1 million athletes playing many kinds of sports sustain concussions. People with a concussion often don't know they have one. It's important that athletes and coaches learn about concussions, signs, and symptoms. New guidelines from the American Academy of Neurology recommend that people thought to have a concussion be immediately removed from play. So play it safe and protect your brain. Learn more at aan.com/concussion.
This message is endorsed by the NFL Players Association.
Meet Kristen, a Heekin orthopedic specialist spine surgery patient.
I'm very active in my life. After one of my games, I couldn't reach my feet anymore. My back was broken. I had the surgery, and I'm so glad I did. My quality of life is so much better now. They told me everything was going to get better, and it did get better. I got my fitness back.
Heekin orthopedic specialists, getting you back to what matters. To learn more, visit HeekinOrtho.com.
It could be as simple, or maybe something a little more complex, or maybe you're just doesn't. No matter, Roll and Reach Plumbing can fix it for you. Their fast, friendly service means you don't have to live with that too long. Roll and Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count. 260-7059. That's 260-7059. Roll and Reach Plumbing.
Ripped it.
Striped that one.
Whoa, that's big.
That's what GolfTech players hear all the time. Why? Only GolfTech has all 5 factors needed for maximum improvement and lasting results. With our 95% success rate, GolfTech has helped thousands of players post career best rounds.
Good putt. Nice bird. What's your secret?
Impress your friends. Become a GolfTech player.
For a limited time, take advantage of savings up to 20% off lessons. Call 998-4650 to get started. 998-4650.
Listen up, kids. This is Coach Gus Bradley of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Daly's Shell stores are looking for you.
Coach, you gotta treat them like football players. Here, use this.
Oh, okay. Daly's wants kids to have what it takes to sprint onto the field after kickoff and bring back the kickoff tee, as well as stand next to the players during the coin toss, and even enjoy 4 pregame passes, club seats, and other really awesome prizes. How was that?
Better.
Enter your kid this week at your local Daily Shell store or online at dailyskickoffkid.com.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
3.
Trying to take it easy.
3.
We're back here on the whole 10 yards on 92.5 FM 1010XL. Wale is twerking currently in the studio.
Hey now. Whoa. Hey now.
We have Jaquez Green on in just a few seconds here to talk about some Gator football down in Gainesville. 2-time SEC champion, consensus All-American in 1997, national title in 96 against Tommy's Florida State Seminoles. How are you doing, Mr. Green?
I'm doing good, man. Looking forward to football season.
I think we all are. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it. How's Valdosta High School football look right now?
We're looking pretty good right now. We played our first preseason game, Jamboree, last Friday night against Ware County. It's a real good team. Last year they was the run-ups in the second biggest division.
Glad to hear it. We hope you guys have a good year up there. I don't think we'll be able to make it to any games, unfortunately. That's just too much of a trek for us. Hopefully you've been listening in. We talked about Jeff Driscoll a little bit earlier. We wanted to get your take on some quarterback-receiver relationships, really. What can a receiver do, especially a young one like DeMarcus Robinson and Ahmad Fullwood here from Jacksonville down there in Gainesville? What can receivers do to make life easier for Jeff Driscoll in that offense?
Just be consistent, basically be in the right place when they're supposed to be there. If they're supposed to run a route at 12 yards, they need to be at 12 yards. Not try to do their own thing. Just, play within the confines of the offense.
I think we all agree on that. They have to be consistent. That's been a big problem for the Gators offense here. In the past couple of years, they'll show signs of greatness and then kind of drop off a little bit for periods of time. It's 4th down. Neyland Stadium, crowd's going wild. Florida's down by a touchdown. They're trying to drive to win the game. What's going through a freshman receiver's mind versus what should be going through his head to get him in the end zone?
He's probably nervous. He's thinking about being a star. That's the only thing he's known his whole life, his entire life, was being the man. He's just hoping he can make this play. I hope he thinks that. If he's the type of receiver that we recruit at the University of Florida, he's thinking he should be able to make this play. He's hoping the ball comes to him.
Is that what was going through your head? You always wanted the ball when you were in Gainesville?
Yeah, we had a lot of confidence as receivers, and Coach Perry instilled a lot of confidence in us. So we felt that if someone had to make the play on the offense, it had to be one of us.
How important is it to Jeff Driscoll and the Gators offense to have these playmaking receivers versus not necessarily quiet, but less playmaking and more possession? Do you want that playmaking ability out of the receivers?
Yeah, you have to have guys that can make plays, guys that can stretch the field. I think the big plays the most often come in the passing game. I think the run game, pretty much controls the clock and helps give defense rest. But you need guys that can stretch the field, and it's hard to execute guys just drive the ball 80 yards every possession. So you got to have guys that can get big chunks in the passing game. They help the quarterback out, help the offense out, help the team out. Period.
Jaquez, this is Matt. Big fan, by the way, from your Buccaneers days. Big fan. We should have won that title game in '99, the NFC title game against the matter of the Gators not recruiting as highly touted receivers, or do you see UF kind of changing their scheme and trying to be more run option and kind of go with like the trend in college football?
I think it has something to do with more of a run option type scheme. I don't think we did not recruit any good receivers. I think the way we played, last other than Percy Harvin and that type of scheme that we used to play with, most of those guys were blocking most of the game. They'll get a ball here and there, but now we're back to a pro style type offense. I think we'll be able to get better receivers now. I think those guys this year will be the best receivers we had in a while. I think it had more to do with the scheme as opposed to not having good receivers.
Yeah, it probably didn't help that David Pollock's a Bulldog, too. I'm sure he was quick to analyze because of that.
And a defensive lineman. I'm not sure what the criteria is to step in on a receiving core.
Guys once they get on television, they all of a sudden know it all.
Shots fired to David Pollock here on the Whole 10 Yards. You got some big games this year down in Gainesville. Also some big road games, too. You've got Miami, play the normal SEC East teams, of course. Travel to Missouri at LSU, Georgia here in Jacksonville, of course. Have to go to Columbia to play the Gamecocks. What do you think is the biggest game, the most important game on the schedule?
Probably the most important game is Georgia. It hasn't been that important to me in a while, but since I moved back to Georgia, I started to hear about this Georgia and the Bulldogs, and they really think Georgia relevant up here for a team that hasn't won a hasn't won a national title since 1980. So I think the Georgia game is really back relevant again. They've been playing this pretty tough the last 4 or 5 years. So they have to get back to beating those guys on a consistent basis.
I don't know why I expected a little bit more Bulldog love out of you. But there was zero in that question. You just ripped the Bulldogs to shreds. I'm going to try and go to that Georgia game, though. It should be a big one. Overall predictions, we'll let you go here in a few seconds. I know you got some busy Sunday plans, and Adrian's got one question for you as well. Let's kick it over to Adrien.
All right, Jacquez, you're a proven champion. And the Gators they won 11-2 record last season, and a lot of people think it just takes talent to win a national championship. I just want to ask you, being a man who's won a national championship, what does it really take to accomplish that goal for a team?
Talent, it takes talent, but there's so many talented teams in college football. So it also takes a team with great leadership. You got to have great leaders, guys who buy into the system, guys who buy into what the coach is saying, guys who can take care of the team when the coach is not around. It also takes a bunch of breaks. You got to have some lucky breaks along the way. It's rare that you can be a 95, 94 Nebraska team and just be the best team and just steamroll all the way through the schedule. So most teams who win a national title, they get a lot of good breaks along the way, a lot of plays for their way.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think we all want to get your Wale. Do you have any questions for Mr. Green?
I just want to ask, you've played football. You played football in the mid to mid 90s, and the progression of college football and how the game is played today is just so vastly different. Do you think it's moved in a positive direction, or some of the changes have just kind of maybe lessened the passion for college football?
It's just different. Just just about life society. Everything just changed and everything's gonna be different. You just have to accept it and move on as a person. I think. I think now every kid think they're going to the NFL. Back then, I think we just have to play college football, enjoy playing college football. If you had the opportunity, you took it. Now I think every kid who signs really feel they're going to the NFL. I think it has. I think the time of football is changing really because of the recruiting and stuff. And the not AAU circuit. The 707 circuit has really turned into the AAU circuit now. So it's just different. I don't think it's good nor bad. So we'll just see how it plays out in the next couple of years.
Right, we got two more questions for you, Jacquez. Tommy, our producer, wants to know who's your biggest rival, UGA or FSU?
It used to be FSU, but like I said earlier, since I moved to Georgia, I really want to beat the Bulldogs. I never wanted to beat the Bulldogs as much as I have recently.
The game this year should be a good game. Both teams could possibly be ranked in the. Honestly, they could be ranked in the top 5. They don't really have too many huge challenges before that game, aside from LSU for both. But we'll look forward to it. What are your final predictions for the Gators this year? Do they win 11? Do they go undefeated? Do they have a down year and win 7? What do you got?
How many games they Florida play total this year?
12.
I give them a 10-2. 10-2. I'll go 10-2 with Florida this year.
I think we agree with that.
I think they'll beat a couple of teams pretty good in their schedule. And I think they'll lose to 1 or 2 teams that's pretty good in their schedule.
They're not going to lose to Georgia, though, right?
No, they won't lose to Georgia.
All right, just making sure.
Maybe Toledo. That was totally a joke. We appreciate you joining us, Mr. Green. We'll have you on another time, definitely. We appreciate your insight. It's going to pain me to say this, but go Gators.
Go Gators, man. Appreciate it.
Go Bucks. I got it in there. He heard me. He heard me say it.
Matt's still with the bromance here on Jacquez Green. Coming out of Jacquez Green and his interview, we're going to jump into SEC East and West predictions and, of course, conference predictions. We're going to try and get him in before the next break. So, SEC preview brought to you by Burrito Gallery. We'll give you some more love on Burrito Gallery later. Great food down there. Who wins the East? Matthew, we'll start with you.
Well, it's a good thing Jacquez Green's off because I'm saying Georgia.
I'm saying Georgia, too, for the record.
Yeah, I'm definitely going Georgia.
Group consensus, it's Georgia.
Okay. Let's dive into the schedule then a little bit so we're not just saying Georgia and with nothing to back it up. I think I don't know if they'll go undefeated, but I don't know that they have to. When LSU visits Athens, that's going to be a really, really big game, and that's September 28th. For those of you who don't know, Georgia has a pretty tough out-of-conference schedule in the SEC as well. They play at Clemson to open the season, at Georgia Tech. Appalachian State's in there. Whatever. We don't talk about Appalachian State here.
Upstate alert. Alert.
But no, they open SEC play again in South Carolina, in Athens this year, though. What do you guys see win-loss-wise for the Bulldogs? With 9 returning offensive starters.
If they can get past Clemson, I see them going 12-0.
Oh,
I agree.
See, I don't think Clemson's the test.
Really? Which team do you think is the test?
I think the LSU game is going to be tough.
I like the LSU game. I think they're going to go 10-2, something around there. I actually think Clemson's going to get that win to open the season, but also the LSU game. With Georgia only bringing back one defensive lineman, starter, returner from last season, I think LSU's going to run the ball. They're going to try to ram it down their throats.
Right.
It being early in the season,
Getting Jeremy Hill back or reinstated was huge for them, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit about that later.
They're going to have to run the ball down their throat because they don't really have a quarterback. You think Zach Mettenberger?
I think Zach Mettenberger steps up this year.
Are you serious?
Again, I'll get to that later.
I'm with you, Wally. I don't believe in Mettenberger.
I think Mettenberger's going to have something to prove.
We don't believe in you, Matt.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, disregard that, Mom and Dad listening. They do believe in me.
But Matt, tell us why you don't think. Well, I know you said Georgia's going to do it, but
if they beat Clemson, they're going to jump from 5 to maybe 3 because Clemson's 8. So I think they deserve to jump at least one spot, leapfrog over Stanford.
Depending on how that game goes.
Depending on how,
right.
Yes, if they were to win, it depends on how they win as well. But then they got South Carolina right after that, and I think, like Wally was saying, if they beat Clemson, they're going to be riding enough momentum that they're hosting South Carolina. If they were going on the road to South Carolina or going on the road to LSU, I'd probably be in agreement that an undefeated season's outside the realm of possibility. But considering the only tough road games they have is like at Tennessee, Tennessee, and then Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's scary sometimes. It can surprise you. But Aaron Rodgers' brother just graduated, so he's not there anymore. They're going to have to restock the offense. And the Florida-Georgia game, that's always a weird game. Aaron Murray threw 3 picks in that game last year. They were still able to win, but I think they pull it out again this year. I think the Gators, are taking a little bit of a step back. And I'm glad we're having this conversation after Jacquez Green.
Right, after.
Because I do not want to offend him.
That was planned because I knew I was going to pick Georgia too. So I figured we'd have him on before we did that.
I believe in
call
you.
back up here. Very upset.
So we've all got Georgia. We might dive in a little bit more in-depth here towards the end of the show. It's in the East. But what about out West? Who do you guys got?
Alabama.
Re-up gang, Alabama.
Alabama.
Why do you have re-up gang, Adrien?
All they do is reload every season.
All right. What about Pringles?
Oh, Pringles is going to have a great campaign this year. Amari Cooper, for those of you who don't know, call him Pringles because he could take the top off of any defense, and once you pops
that top,
the fun don't stop.
Fun don't stop.
We are going to bring in Rodney Orr right after the break here in a few minutes on the whole 10 yards. We'll get his take on my SEC West prediction, which is the LSU Tigers.
Whoa.
I knew I was going to get some hate for that one. I actually have Georgia beating them, but they don't have to beat Georgia, of course, to win the West. I just think they had Alabama beat last year. They really did. A.J. McCarron decided to be A.J. McCarron, though. But Jeremy Hill coming back, that's huge. I think Mettenberger steps up this year. I know you guys don't see it, but he was recruited by Georgia and came to LSU for a reason. They don't call enough plays for him. I mean, to be honest with you, you gotta let him throw the ball. Don't stuff it down the defensive's throat. You're good at it, but open up a little bit. And I think if they do that, I think they'll be pretty dangerous.
Did you see him play last year?
I did.
And that's why they run the ball.
Okay.
When you say take a step up, let him take a step first.
Yeah.
And then we'll take a step up.
Yeah, Clayton's out here talking free Mettenberger. I have no idea what that even means.
You don't believe in me.
It hurts.
You don't believe in me, but Zach Mettenberger, yeah, he's going to New York for the Heisman finalist.
I didn't say he was going to be a Heisman finalist. He just needs to manage the game, and I think he can do that.
I see it in your eyes.
Okay.
I see what you're really saying over there.
The Clayton hate in the studio right now is a real thing. It's palpable.
At an all-time high.
At an all-time high, which is pretty high for those of you who don't know. But yeah, I just think he comes through, and I do think they beat Alabama. I think they beat A&M. I'd say one loss maybe, possibly the opening game to TCU. But we'll talk about that a little bit next segment. We're going to take a break here on the whole 10 yards. We're going to have Rodney Orr when we get back from TiderInsider.com to talk some more SEC football. We will see you in a few.
If you're thinking about going fishing this weekend, catch Captain Kevin Favor. He'll tell you everything you need to know on the Florida Roads Fishing Forecast. Thursday nights at 7. Brought to you by Ring Power, Beach Marine, and First Coast Power Sports on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
My name is Karen Osborne, and my father was a major in the United States Army. He put himself through medical school, and just as he was about to launch his practice, he got a letter from the President of the United States selecting him for service during the Vietnam War.
USAA members are far from ordinary. They've earned access to an insurance provider that is also far from ordinary.
If you miss the opportunity to be a member of USAA, you are really doing yourself a disservice. I have found USAA to be the most respectful, caring, attentive company that I've ever dealt with.
USAA proudly serves current and former military members who have honorably served and their families. Find out why 95% of USAA members plan to stay with us for life. For an auto insurance quote, call 800-531-USAA.
Insurance by United Services Automobile Association and its affiliate San Antonio, Texas. Membership eligibility restrictions apply. 95% based on 2011 Member Communications Trend Survey. No Department of Defense or government agency endorsement member was paid for their participation.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Underwood has completed 75 years in business, and now you are starting your next 75 years. If you were going to simplify things, what is the single most important thing in Underwood's history, and what will be the most important thing in your future?
Frank, that's simple. Our honesty and integrity. You know, our founder, H.F. Underwood's favorite saying was, know the truth and tell the truth. That's why we're the longest-standing member of the American Gem Society in Florida, because we know you have to have the knowledge about gemstones before you can tell the truth about them. That's why we continue to educate our staff through the Gemological Institute of America and the American Gem Society. In fact, today, Underwood's has the largest American Gem Society credentialed staff of professionals east of the Mississippi River. So come by and see why we're looking forward to the next 75 years and let one of our experts assist you.
That's at Underwood's, serving excellence since 1928 in San Marco, Avondale, the Shops of Ponte Vedra, and the Avenues Mall.
Big hitters, big games. 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Oh, look, 3 new updates. Oh, Tanya got engaged. Oh, and Bethany posted pics from her Cancun vacation. And there's Sally playing with her cute little boy. Hey, I've got an update, too. Spent only $1 for 6 delicious Chicken McNuggets. Yum.
Enjoy a 6-piece Chicken McNuggets made with white meat for just $1 at McDonald's. More golden deliciousness to love. Prices and participation may vary for a limited time, a la carte only. Many McDonald's open 24 hours. Participation varies.
To remind you that McDonald's is open late with all your favorites, here are some late-night sound effects. An owl. A wolf. A polar bear breaking into someone's car and scaring the pants off the neighborhood night joggers.
Oh no, my pants!
What? That's what it sounded like last night. Whatever.
When hunger strikes later, it's good to know that many McDonald's are open 24 hours a day, with more late-night favorites to love. Participation may vary.
This is Bug Squadron Leader. Prepare for home attack now. Be on the lookout for holes and broken glass in windows and doors. Ready? Attack now!
When the bugs come, you need glass. The trained professionals at Weatherwise Windows and Doors repair and replace windows, sliding glass doors, and storm doors. They handle it all. Weatherwise Windows and Doors. 288-8711. Locally owned and family operated. A window to fit every budget.
AMCO Transmissions, the trusted experts in transmission repair for over 50 years, are also the right choice for all car repairs.
Yes, AMCO Transmissions, the name you know for fixing the most complicated part of your car, can take care of your brakes, tune-ups, belts and hoses, air conditioning, regular factory maintenance. They can fix anything.
Plus, at AMCO, if you think your car may need repairs, we'll perform a free multi-point inspection and let you make the decision. If another shop says you need a repair, stop. Then come to AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care for a free second opinion.
Why pay someone when AMCO will check it for free?
Don't trust your car to just anyone. Get it done right at any of our local family-operated Jacksonville area locations, including Orange Park, St. Augustine, Palatka, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Find the AMCO Center nearest you at AMCOJacksonville.com.
At participating centers, additional diagnostic charges may apply. See center for details. AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care, now partnered with Daniel Kids to help local families in need through our We Care Repair charitable initiative. AA MCO AMCO.
Hey Matt, what are you feeling for lunch today?
If I had to choose, I'd say probably Burrito Gallery.
Yeah, definitely Burrito Gallery. With 2 locations and a great menu, you can't go wrong. Downtown at 21 East Adams Street or at the beaches at 1333 3rd Street North. Uncle Sanchez and his Palace Burrito Gallery will take care of any hunger. I'm thinking about getting a chicken burrito when I'm out of here, maybe a cold beverage.
Hey, if you're paying, I'm down.
Hey, I got you.
Get up! Get on up!
We're back here on the whole 10 yards, 1010XL 92.5 FM. We have Rodney Orr waiting for us here from TiderInsider.com to talk some SEC football, jump out west, and talk about some Alabama football. Mr. Orr, how you doing?
Hey, guys. How are you?
We're great. Thanks for joining us today. We know you're on a tight schedule. We'll jump right into it. Likelihood of a three-peat for Alabama?
Likelihood?
Yes.
Well, I think they certainly have an opportunity. They have a lot of, talented athletic players. They have leadership in some of the right spots with A.J. McCarron, of course, returning. They have a great wide receiver core. C.J. Mosley back on defense and some young, talented guys. But, again, I think when you look at it overall, are they invincible? I don't think so. I think, when you're replacing 3 guys up front, the magnitude of DJ Fluker, Barrett Jones, and Chance Warmack, 2 of those first-round draft picks, that's a pretty tall task. I think they have to shore that up. I don't think they're where they are in the offensive line that they, want to be by any means. Coach Saban has continued to point that out over the past couple of weeks, due to the scrimmages they've had. And, I think they're still trying to put some pieces together. So certainly I don't know that they're the overwhelmingly invincible team that some people are kind of making them out, in terms of the poll and some of the people the national people. But the pieces are there. It's just a matter of, getting them all together.
I agree. I don't think any of us here think they're invincible like they have been the past 2 years. They got some tough games on the schedule, though. Open up for Virginia Tech. Of course, that highly anticipated game in College Station, Texas A&M. What's the toughest roadblock, the toughest game for Alabama on this year's schedule?
Well, I think obviously, the first game is going to be very interesting with Virginia Tech. So I think, clearly Alabama's a more talented team and, should probably win the game. But, I think then all of a sudden, you have a week off to prepare to go to Texas A&M. And I really don't think anyone knows exactly, what to expect in that game because, we really don't know the mindset or of what's going on at College Station with, Johnny Manziel. But I do know this. I do know that, that Alabama's kind of been pointing to that game At least certainly a lot of the players have due to what happened last season.
Of course.
But that's going to be a big game, no question. But again, 2 weeks later, Alabama at home faces an Ole Miss team that really last year, and again, I do realize that they caught Alabama. They had a little bit of an advantage because certainly a team that is easy to get up for. Alabama was and is, and Ole Miss probably in some ways out physicaled Alabama in that game. So it's going to be interesting with Ole Miss coming into town at the end of September, and then of course we move into October, and you've got Arkansas, Tennessee, you've got LSU coming up in November, and you never really know, guys, what which teams are going to kind of emerge as really good teams that you didn't expect to be. I mean, seriously, who would have predicted Auburn would have won the national championship in 2010? Not very many people preseason.
I can say I didn't. I wish I could have called that, but I didn't. There's also quite a few players nationwide that we don't expect to step up yearly that do. I know we've got some interest here in Jacksonville about Derrick Henry, the big recruit you guys got. How does he look after that injury?
He's doing great. I think he's continued to do really well in the scrimmages. He's recovered really well. I think he recovered faster than what people thought he would. I think he's got a chance to be a really valuable weapon because people know that he rushed for 4,200 plus yards last year and all the 14,000 in his career, whatever it was. I mean, it's incredible the numbers he put up. But I think what he can do at Alabama is not only run the ball some, but I think watch him as a receiver. I think he's going to bring a valuable addition to Alabama, do some things with his size, his ability to catch the ball. I think he could become a weapon and will become a weapon in that regard at some point.
We've seen a little bit of pass catching ability here in Jacksonville while he was at Yulee High School. So that won't be too much of a surprise for us. That would be great to see him do well out there in Tuscaloosa, though. We're going to jump across the conference, get your prediction. Who wins the SEC East?
Well, I think that's a difficult question, obviously, at this point, because we never know how things are going to transpire down the road. And I'm really not good in terms of predicting. But, if you want to go on a gut hunch, the team I say watch out for is South Carolina. I mean, there have been 11-2 the past 2 years. They have the most dynamic defensive player in the country, obviously in Jadeveon Clowney. The two quarterbacks, I think, are really good. I just think I got a gut hunch that South Carolina might be, this might be their chance to take that next step. And, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Georgia lost a lot of people defensively. Florida's, got some defensively, I was very impressed with Florida last year, and I think they'll continue to be good defensively. A lot of great athletes. But, they have a very difficult schedule. Very, very difficult schedule. So, if right now I had to predict, I'd say South Carolina.
I think we all disagree with you, but that's a very, very good argument. You might have swayed me. We appreciate you giving us your time today. We know you got a busy Sunday planned. Check out Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com. Have a great day, Mr. Orr.
Thank you. Hey, appreciate it, guys. Take care.
You as well. Some differing SEC East opinions, it seems, across the Southeast. Mr. Orr, again, picking South Carolina. I just don't think they can beat Georgia.
Well, he did say he was just going on a gut feeling.
Oh, I know.
He said he was not into predictions and all that stuff, but I don't like Connor Shaw.
I don't either.
I don't think he
as a person. No.
I'm sure he's a great guy. No, I'm sure he tips well, and I'm sure he's says his prayers and all that good stuff. No, but I mean, as a quarterback, and it's funny that Orr just said two quarterbacks.
Right.
In football now, tell me if I'm wrong, but only one quarterback can play at a time, at least throwing the ball.
Right.
Correct? Okay, so.
Spurrier does switch him out a lot. He did it last year. He's known to do that. I just don't know if you can win a title that way.
I don't think you can.
Correct me if I'm wrong. There hasn't been a team that's won the title doing that.
And we're not talking Chris Leak, Tim Tebow.
No,
that was way different.
Yeah.
That was way different.
No.
I know there's Florida fans in their cars right now like, what are they talking about? No. That was different. Chris Leak was the quarterback. Tebow came in for short yardage plays. Two quarterbacks throwing, 15 times a game.
Right.
Nah, I don't think that works.
I don't think it does either. Right. I just don't see South Carolina. Or mentioned that Georgia lost a bunch of things defensively, but their offense. I don't know if South Carolina's going to be able to stop that offense. I know South Carolina's good. I know they're fast. I watched them pretty closely in the Outback Bowl last year. They are a fast defense, but that Georgia offense, I think, is going to be really tough to stop.
Explosive is what that Georgia offense is. And
Yeah.
it's just,
He mentioned Ole Miss, too, saying how Ole Miss gave Alabama a run. That was surprising.
I really thought that was interesting. They've got a lot of young recruits out there.
That's not the first time I've heard Ole Miss pop up in conversation to try and sneak through and possibly come through and win the West. I can't see it personally happening.
I'm not betting my own money on it.
I would never put money down on that. But I'm just saying, that's it. They've got some playmakers out there.
Right.
They do.
Just so the Gator fans don't hate us too much, which I think we're on the verge of that happening. What has to happen for the Gators to win the East? Because none of us picked them.
Driscoll has to show that he is not a one read and tuck in and run guy. He has to improve his field progression as far as scanning the field, looking for his receivers.
Right.
He's got to be able to look, but he's also got to make just better decisions. I don't think he had a lot of turnovers last year, but he just looked really indecisive. So this year he has to definitely make sure that he's scanning the field. Be confident in his throws. Make sure that he's going through his progressions, and if he can improve on that level as a quarterback, then Florida does have a shot to do it, because I think they've got a running game.
Right. Driscoll didn't have that many turnovers last year, but he only had 12 touchdowns to go with that 5 interceptions.
Right.
So it's a ratio, albeit, but you want that touchdown number to be a bit higher, I think. And I know Muschamp said that they're going to beat people at the line of scrimmage when he got there. They're not going to score 50 points a game, but you want to score more than 10.
Yeah.
I think the sweet spot for Florida has to be about 24 points.
That's a safe number. I really think
that's just being like, all right, bare minimums, but
I
you
think
got to get to 24.
They'll be in every game if they hold teams, or if they score 20, I think. I really do, late in the game.
I think a lot of young players on that Gator team are going to have to step up. The defense is going to be there. They're going to hold their own. But on offense, those freshmen coming in.
DeMarcus Robinson impressed a lot of people Thursday in that open practice. From what I hear, obviously I wasn't there.
Kelvin Taylor is supposed to be, every bit of the player his father was. So a lot of players are going to have to step up on that offense, especially Driscoll. I think the Gators go as he goes this year.
I'm not sold on Kelvin Taylor yet. I want to see him in action. I think it was Mike Dempsey and the other guys on the Mike Dempsey show on Friday. They were talking about the comparison of Derrick Henry and Kelvin Taylor, albeit, again, different running backs. I'm just not sold that Kelvin Taylor can do it consistently on Division I level.
I don't know. I watched – well, yeah, you say on the Division I level. I was going to say I watched the game.
Better yet, on an SEC level.
Yeah, SEC level is a different animal than the normal Division I level
ACC.
is. Yeah, ACC is kind of a mediocre conference.
Well, it's good. He's coming into a situation, though, where he doesn't have to be the man. They're not asking 18-year-old Kelvin Taylor to come in and carry the ball 25 times. And I think what you were saying, Wale, with Driscoll, I think the most important thing is he stay healthy, because they have no quarterback depth behind him.
I'll go play.
He has to be healthy. That means getting rid of the ball a little quicker. Not risking, it's 3rd and 3, you're running for that first down, but man, that linebacker is going to murk you. Probably just should throw it away, live to fight another day, 4th and 3, punt it.
Right.
And I think, like what Jacques Green said earlier in the conversation, a little bit of luck. They got a tough schedule, man. They're going to LSU. They got to play the Florida-Georgia game. They have to play the Seminoles at the end of the season. They're at Miami in week 2. Yeah, they're going to need some things to fall their way.
I think another big word that Jacques Green used was consistency. And that team has to be – they can be consistently mediocre on offense and be fine. They can't be great for half a game, though, and be terrible for the next 2 games. They have to be consistently average is okay when you have that good of a defense, and they do. We said that – Wally said the magic number is 24 for that offense. I said 20. If they can score consistently 20 a game, keep the ball, time of possession is going to be huge for them, then I think they'll have a chance at winning the East and possibly maybe be around for a national title like they were last year. I just don't think all the dominoes can fall into place.
I think Florida's the 3rd best team in the state of Florida.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Oh, hey now. Shots fired.
Look out, USF. USF, he has you at 4. Come on.
FAU, FIU, down south. That's a pretty bold prediction. I guess we'll see we'll see how true that stands after the season again, because they play Miami and Florida State. But
they all play each other this year.
Right.
It's like a round robin.
So we'll have a state champion.
Finally.
True.
Yeah, but that Miami game looms large. I think that's going to be a really good game.
I'm thinking about taking a trip.
I wish we could. I got to work, though.
Man, this game's far enough out where you can take the time off, man.
Yeah.
10 yards radio road trip, bro.
We'll think about it. We'll think about it. We're going to give some T-shirts away later on in the show, though, so be sure to stay tuned for that. I don't think we told you guys we're heavy on social media. You can follow Wale at DMC Adrien and Matt, they're terrible at Twitter, so I'm not even going to give their handles out. They can if they want to.
Nah, give that out.
Okay.
Step your game up, bro.
Follow me at Adrien Wade, ADrienWade. I will respond eventually.
Matt Ziegler's is at Matt Ziegler, Ziegler 454.
Look at you.
Yeah. And mine is at Tink_CFB. You can also follow the show at 10yards_radio. We would appreciate that. And interact with us. We give T-shirts away on there all the time, just because we're nice guys.
I give T-shirts away just on a regular basis. I
Really?
have a bunch of T-shirts I don't wear at my house. If you want one,
just come on by.
Hit me up on Twitter, and I will hand out a T-shirt.
So these are 10 Yards Radio official T-shirts we're talking about, though, Adrien. Not some thrift shop Macklemore T-shirts.
I got some undershirts.
I've been trying to get rid of them. I mean, if you want them. Oh man, that's funny. And you know what, Clayton? You said you don't care. You said you don't care about me. You said I don't matter.
Right.
You learned to spell my last name.
Yeah, I know.
That means a lot. And it's not that I'm bad at Twitter. I just don't like starting the conversation. So if someone has something to say to me about my predictions today during the show, go ahead. Yeah, be like, hey, you're wrong, and I'll be like, okay, thanks.
Oh, I'll be all up in your mentions.
All up in it. Favorite that. Retweet me.
Again, Matt is terrible at Twitter. Don't waste your time.
Oh.
When we come back here on 1010XL 92.5 FM, the whole 10 yards brought to you by Sears of Jacksonville. We're going to have Harvey Cooley of the Orlando Sentinel.
Coley Harvey.
I got it backwards.
Flipped it.
Don't hate me.
You're reading his mail backwards.
We'll get him on to talk some ACC football when we get back. Stick around, Knowles fans. We got something for you, too, here on 92.5 FM.
It's the Jags, the NFL, X's and O's, fantasy talk, and more. All football, every day. The Football Show with Mike Dempsey, weekdays at 3 on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Beach Marine on the Intercoastal Waterway on Beach Boulevard in Jax Beach is proud to sponsor the Florida Roads Fishing Forecast Show with Captain Kevin Favor, Thursday nights at 7 on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hello, I'm Bill Harrell. At Harrell & Harrell, every case, every single case, is reviewed by at least 2 or 3 attorneys. Each attorney has a different viewpoint and brings different skills and talents that we blend together to make decisions with our clients, to help you get through things, to give you hope that your life will return to normal. That's what we do. That's our job. Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is 1010XL 92.5 FM.
You can win the struggle against summer heat and humidity. Florida has given Mike Merritt's Heating and Air a license to chill. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack Jacksonville again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Mike has been keeping Jacksonville comfortable for 25 years. Mike Merritt repairs all brands and installs Carrier. Turn to the experts on the web at merrittair.com. Florida license number CAC 050384.
4 right. Oh, stay dry.
No, that's wet.
Become a Golf Tech player and turn comments into compliments. Golf Tech combines motion measurement with video analysis to deliver a 95% success rate.
Ripped it.
Center cut.
What's your secret?
Find your swing. Become a Golf Tech player.
For a limited time, take advantage of savings up to 20% off lessons. Call 998-4650 to get started. 998-4650.
Get your cigars where I get mine. David Lamb here for Tobacco Cove. Tobacco Cove has over 50 brands of cigars to satisfy the discriminating smoker. And they have a large variety of pipes, over 48 blends of tobacco from around the world, and a knowledgeable staff to assist you in your selection. Accessories to complement your smoking pleasure abound. Go and relax in their renovated facility at Bay Meadows in San Jose. Tobacco Cove. It's more than a smoke shop. It's an experience.
We're back here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. This is The Whole 10 Yards, brought to you by Sears of Jacksonville. We're going to talk some ACC football now. We got the SEC out of the way, so you FSU fans out there can get some love as well.
Yeah, my roommate Chris was just texting me about it. He was like, come on, man. Don't leave me high and dry.
We accept text messages in studio as well here on The Whole 10 Yards. We're a young crew.
Yeah.
We're a young crew.
I may not be good at Twitter, but if you want to text me, now that's easy to do.
We don't give out phone numbers over the air, though.
And that's how Matt gets in trouble.
We're going to give you guys Atlantic and Coastal predictions, of course. Maybe some big games to look out for in the ACC, which there's always a few. Florida State's got some big ones this year, of course. And maybe some surprise teams with a shot at the conference title. I think I have one for you guys. Who wins the Atlantic Division, though?
You want to go first, Wally?
Sure, I'll take it.
Wally.
I have Clemson winning the Atlantic Division.
Boo.
You've got Taj Boyd, Sammy Watkins, touchdown for days. I mean, it's their offenses.
Are they an ATM, an automatic touchdown machine?
They're an automatic touchdown machine. That's correct. And I think defensive-wise, I think they're more of a bend, don't break defense. So I'm not too concerned about them having issues stopping teams or anything like that. Plus, it's the ACC. They're not known for like high-flying offenses or anything like that. So
I think Mr. Coley Harvey might disagree with you there on the high-flying offenses. We finally got him on the phone. Mr. Harvey, how you doing?
Doing okay. How are you guys doing?
Very well, Mr. Coley Harvey of the Orlando Sentinel. I butchered your name earlier. I hope you didn't hear that. We thought that's why we couldn't get a hold of you, but you're here now. We appreciate your time this morning. We're going to talk some FSU football, of course, with you. That's your forte. What are the odds that FSU can compete for a national title this year?
Well, that's of course the question that a lot of Seminoles fans have every year. It seems like these days, but to be honest, I think the odds aren't super high. I mean, you're talking about a team that's having to replace its starting quarterback. You're talking about a team that has a brand new defense. You're talking about a team that had to replace 6 assistant coaches last year. I don't think the odds are super high for a national championship, but the odds for a conference championship obviously are a lot more favorable. Clemson right now is the team that FSU has to beat in the conference. And if they can get past Clemson, and if they can also somehow get past Florida and get through the rest of the season, then yeah, I guess the national championship is definitely in focus. But it's a lot it's a lot more difficult to get to that point than it is to than maybe people think. It's going to be a challenge to say the least for that to happen. So I don't think the odds are very high this year, but the next year perhaps they are, because you still have some of that talent coming back next year, and you have a quarterback who's played in the system for a full year now.
Yeah, I think giving Winston a little bit of experience under gun is going to help a little bit. Last year, unfortunately, Florida State was. Well, not unfortunately, they were in the hunt for a national title. They lost to NC State, though, a sleeper game that no one really expected them to lose. What's the sleeper game for FSU that they have to look out for, besides, of course, the Florida, the Clemson, and, of course, now the NC State's going to be on their schedule this year. Who's the sleeper?
Well, really, pretty much any game. No game when you think of it that way. No game is guaranteed at all. The opener against Pitt's not guaranteed. It's going to be a tough game because it is a road game, nationally televised game. It sounds like Heinz Field probably will be sold out, probably for the first time, and I don't know how long for a Pitt game. So it's going to that's going to be a tough environment to play in. But you also have a team in Pitt that's not very good, but still, just because of the hype going into that ball game, that could be a tough one. And you've got Miami. Miami is looking to be a lot more improved this year. That could be a little bit of a challenge. Of course, the Hurricanes come to Tallahassee this year. Last year, FSU went down to Miami, and in a very, very neutral crowd, really went down and handled business pretty well. And then, of course, NC State is always a team that you kind of have to watch out for. And given this rivalry, for whatever reason, the Seminoles don't always play their best against the Wolfpack. And, of course, last year was an indication of that. And then at the same time, I think that NC State might be a sleeper team in the ACC this year. They only have 4 road games this season, so they've got a chance to be really good at home, which is a tough place to play. But then when they do go on the road to a place like FSU, again, that's just one of those teams that over the years has caused the Seminoles some trouble. So that's another one. But again, you can't really sleep on the entire schedule. It's not the most difficult schedule ever, but it's also given the lure of quote-unquote trap games, there are definitely quite a few on the schedule for FSU this season.
All right, I've definitely got that Pittsburgh game circled for some reason. I think it's going to be a dogfight opening weekend, and that's going to be a tough play for Jameis Winston to play right off the bat. Speaking of Mr. Winston, they're replacing EJ, of course. What does Winston do better? What does he do worse that you've seen so far of EJ Manuel?
Well, when it comes to what he does better than EJ, it's really tough to say that a redshirt freshman, to be honest, is anything better than a guy who is now a starting quarterback in the National Football League and who, of course, won't play the rest of the preseason, but has looked pretty strong in his first 2 preseason games. So, I don't know if I can necessarily say there's anything he does better than EJ right now, but some of the things that Jameis does do well, just as himself, is he is obviously a very mobile quarterback. I don't know how much we're going to see the Seminoles use him as far as being a mobile quarterback explicitly this season. Of course, he'll have chances where, say, if the pocket breaks down, he'll get outside and he'll take off and go. But as far as planned runs, as far as planned quarterback type runs, as far as the options with the quarterback, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of that with him, and that's something that we didn't see a whole lot of with EJ Manuel last year either. And part of that's just, I think Jimbo Fisher is trying to be very cautious with his quarterbacks and trying to really protect them as much as he can. But Winston's got a strong arm. In the spring game we saw that strength as he essentially threw a ball with ease about 40-some-odd yards in the air before hooking up with a long touchdown with one of the backup receivers. And then he also had another touchdown in the spring game that was more of tested his accuracy. He put the ball right where it needed to be on the back shoulder of Rashad Green. Green was able to kind of turn, catch it, adjust, and sneak right in the end zone off of that pass. So, he's got great touch. He's got great vision as far as where he wants to go with the football and knowing what he needs to do with the football. And and then also he's got good size, good speed, and good athleticism. That's exactly the combination that Jimbo Fisher wants in his quarterback and his offense. And to his credit, Jacob Coker, the other guy competing for the starting quarterback job, although it looks like Winston's going to end up winning it, Coker's got a lot of those same kinds of characteristics and qualities too. So so they're pretty excited with what they've got at that position. The only problem again is just that neither one of those guys have played a true series of downs in a key game like, say, this Pitt game coming up as a season opener.
I agree. I think Winston is, again, from what we've heard over here in Jacksonville, obviously you've got a little bit better perspective. But he's supposed to be the real deal. We hope he is. Adrian's got a question for you, though.
Hey, Coley, I just want to know, with 2 quarterbacks, that you just mentioned competing for the starting job with limited playing experience, what is the offensive mindset going to be for the Noles going into the season, especially with the off the field and injuries that we've had at wide receiver and tight end?
Well, given the fact that there have been a couple of players, obviously Greg Dent was arrested earlier this offseason, and he's still suspended indefinitely, although that could change. I don't think it will, but it could change this coming week. And then, of course, Willie Halstead has been out with an academic ineligibility, so he's done for his career. Again, a couple of injuries, like Scooter Higgins is now injured. Jeremy Kerr, the backup tight end, is injured. Kevin Hapley, another tight end, is injured. So, like you said, there are a lot of issues there at the pass catching game as far as the receivers and tight ends for FSU. But when it comes to the 2 quarterbacks, I mean, they both again have their various strengths, and I don't think that Jimbo Fisher is necessarily going to go to a 2 quarterback system. I don't think that's in the plans at all. But definitely they'll play one guy, and if something happens early on where that guy, if it's Jameis Winston. If he's not meeting the standards, and they'll come in with Jacob Coker. And I think they feel confident enough that both of those players are so strong that is kind of the plan that they would go for. As far as the run-pass balance, the Seminoles have been pretty balanced with, in that respect the last few years, and I think that'll continue this year. You've got a very strong running game with James Wilder Jr. in the backfield, along with another veteran, Devontae Freeman, and then the speedy Mario Pender is coming on, and even the speedy true freshman Ryan Green is kind of coming on as well at tailback. So I think you're going to see a situation where, say, if it's third and 3, you pretty much know that ball is going to be handed to one of the tailbacks, and they're going to make sure they get that first down on the ground. But the rest of the series, the rest of the sequence, they're going to go to the air. They're going to go to the air pretty often, and they've got a good stable of 4 or 5 veteran receivers, but then also 3 true freshmen who still will be able to pick up some of that slack and deliver in the pass catching game as well.
I think that experience is going to put them possibly over the top against the other 2 Florida teams that are in the state that we've been talking about here. We'll jump to the other side of the conference, though. Do you see a winner in the other division of the ACC besides the Georgia Tech or the Virginia Tech that it's been so far?
Well, to be honest, I think that Miami and North Carolina are the 2 teams that you really have to look out for in the ACC's Coastal. North Carolina, both of those teams technically won the division last year, but neither one could actually compete in the ACC championship game because of, in Miami's case, the looming possibility of sanction. Of course, instituting its own postseason ban last year, and then North Carolina actually having the postseason ban because of pre-existing sanctions. So neither one could play in it last year. Georgia Tech ended up in that game, and obviously played very well against FSU. Ended up losing 21-15, and if it hadn't been for an interception by FSU's Carlos Williams, the Yellow Jackets could have rolled right down the field and snatched that game from FSU. So I do think that Georgia Tech will be a team to kind of watch out for on that side, given that experience that they had last year and the experience of not only playing well in that game, but then also winning the Sun Bowl over a pretty solid USC team. Even though, albeit a USC team that definitely didn't want to be there, didn't want to be in that game. But then you also have to come back and look at Miami with Duke Johnson, with Stephen Morris, and with what that offense did last year, and the offensive line. They're probably, arguably, one of the best offensive lines in the country because of the size, strength, and then also the depth at that position group. So I think that Miami is right in that mix, and I'm sure there would actually be there's definitely going to be a lot of people in Florida who are happy, but there might even be some people at the ACC's offices in Greensboro who are pretty happy if it ends up being, say, an FSU-Miami ACC championship game, because, of course, that's what the conference has been waiting for ever since it went to the championship game format several years ago. But, of course, Miami has not ended up in that game. FSU has, and the title game over the years has not been all that competitive, although, again, last year's was.
Yeah, I think they're waiting for the big matchup, like the Big Ten is waiting for the Michigan State or the Michigan-Ohio State rematch in the championship game. We appreciate your time today. We love the knowledge. We love the FSU love. So do our fans here. We'll definitely keep the North Carolina bandwagon rolling for you, though. I'm a big fan of North Carolina this year. Thanks for your time, and we'll catch you again another time, Mr. Harvey.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Thank you, guys.
Coley Harvey of the Orlando Sentinel joining us here again on the Whole 10 Yards, brought to you by Sears on 92.5 FM 1010XL. Do you guys agree with Harvey and the North Carolina-Miami bandwagon? Do you think somebody else wins that division?
I actually like the North Carolina pick, and it kind of comes out of left field, but it's interesting. It's an interesting thought.
Well, I'll shock you guys again with my Coastal pick here in a few, but who wins the Atlantic? Well, we got to run through this pretty quickly. I think we all agree.
Well, the Atlantic was Clemson. I think we
covered that. Adrien, did you agree?
No, I didn't.
Okay, who do you got?
I got Florida State winning.
Of course you do.
After what Coley Harvey just told me. After that insight I just got, I was on the fence between Clemson and Florida State, but I'm gonna go ahead and roll with Florida State.
I've got Clemson.
Yeah.
Of course you all do.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and Tommy is throwing tomatoes at us currently.
Shout out to Tommy, Florida State.
Tommy, who you got, man?
No nation, baby.
Okay. No bias at all, though. But no, I just think that's the uncertainty of Jameis Winston is going to hurt somebody, and they're going to lose the game that they shouldn't, like in NC State.
Like they usually do
every
year.
And unfortunately, I want FSU to do well, and I want them to be in the title game.
Yeah, it's going to be, I don't know. The only thing, I trust Jameis Winston. I do, because all reports have been he's great and stuff. But, you know, what you were saying, Clayton, he's still a freshman. And it was kind of funny asking about comparing him to E.J. Manuel. And it's, you know, E.J. Manuel is a starter in the NFL and stuff, and Jameis Winston hasn't played a real game yet.
You know what I meant.
No. I'm not making fun of the question. But to Noel Nation, that is the comparison.
Right.
You know, Jameis Winston is already at that tier, and he hasn't even played a single game yet. So it's going to be interesting to see. But, no, I just think it's Clemson's turn. Nothing against FSU. I think they have the talent and stuff to have another good season, win the Chick-fil-A Bowl or whatever they do, and dominate. And
That's so disrespectful.
Why you got to be so disrespectful, Stephen A. Smith?
I'm a fan of James Wilder Jr.
Well, I am a
He's big
fan
boy.
of Tommy and Miss Rita because today is their birthday. I'm not going to give out ages because I don't know any of that. But happy birthday to the producer and Miss Rita. We appreciate you guys.
Happy birthday, guys.
Happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
We're nice folks here on the whole 10 yards. We're not
Sometimes.
mean.
Unless you're on Twitter.
Yeah, of course. We're always mean on Twitter. But Coastal Division, I don't know who you guys got. Who you got?
I got Miami.
You?
As there are others sometimes.
That offense. I think we talked about that a little bit. Adrian?
I like Miami and the Coast.
There it is.
Wale?
Well, let's go Virginia Tech to be different.
Yes! Finally some Virginia Tech love, because that's who I got. Logan Thomas is going to play well this year, and then they're going to get stomped by Clemson in the in the ACC championship game. I just think Logan Thomas, as much as I don't like him, and as much as I don't think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback, I think he plays well this year. I think Frank Beamer and crew get back to playing Beamer ball, which has actually been their downfall the past couple of years with the special teams Foley's and the miscues on easy stuff, where the 50-50 plays that Virginia Tech usually excels on, they haven't been working in the past. And I think a little bit of luck changes that this year, and I think Virginia Tech pulls through.
Those 50-50 plays is what made Virginia Tech elite, for so many years. The fact that they're not doing that well doesn't bode well for that team.
Well, I think it's funny.
On that
I think it's funny. It's the first time I've brought up Virginia Tech in like 4 years, because no one really talks about them.
The 50-50 balls make Virginia Tech elite. You know what makes us elite?
What?
We're giving away free T-shirts when we get back here on the whole 10 yards.
Free T-shirts.
92.5 FM, 1010XL. We'll see you guys in a few.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, along with myself, offer our customers several mortgage products that are absolutely incredible. For example, we offer a 90% jumbo loan for doctors, dentists, and CPAs with no mortgage insurance. We offer a home buyer program for people that have had a bankruptcy, a short sale, even a foreclosure. We offer a HARP 2 program for homeowners that owe more than their home is worth. We offer VA and FHA loans at incredibly low rates. Look, Trustline Mortgage does not offer car loans or checking accounts or CDs. At Trustline, we only do mortgages, and we do them extremely well. Call Trustline Mortgage today. Work with a local professional all the way through the mortgage process to achieve your goal. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage. Call Trustline Mortgage now at 381-LOAN or visit our new website, trustlinemortgage.com, to fill out an easy online application.
Trustline Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS number 331480.
Listen up, kids. This is Coach Gus Bradley of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Daly's Shell Stores are looking for you.
Coach, you gotta treat them like football players. Here, use this.
Oh, okay. Daly's wants kids to have what it takes to sprint onto the field after kickoff and bring back the kickoff tee, as well as stand next to the players during the coin toss, and even enjoy 4 pregame passes, club seats, and other really awesome prizes. How was that?
Better.
Enter your kid this week at your local Daily Shell store or online at dailyskickoffkid.com.
Looking to replace your current homeowner's policy? Ask your agent about Southern Oak Insurance today. Visit our site at southernoakins.com for an instant quote.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
He's at the 40. He's at the 30. He's under 20.
Don't you mean he's at the 20?
I'm talking about pre-owned luxury cars under $20,000 at Lexus of Orange Park and Lexus of Jacksonville. Brumos is changing the game with a luxury experience starting under $20,000.
Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, Audi, Acura, Infiniti, and more. Drive the luxury you desire starting under $20,000.
It's always better in a Brumos. Visit
Brumos.com.
In sports, injuries are part of the game, but you don't get all the answers from the injury report. Dr. Kevin Murphy of Pekin Orthopedic Specialist takes you inside the injury every Thursday morning at 7:30 with Sports Final Radio on 1010XL.
Protect your home inside and out with Brandon Pest Control's Top Dog Protection Plan. Worry-free termite protection, eco-friendly pest control, and river-friendly lawn care, all for $99 a month. No startup fees, no hidden costs, termite, pest, and lawn, all for one low monthly price. Call Brandon Pest Control at 739-9916 or log on to pestfree.com to find out about our Top Dog Protection Plan as low as $99 a month. After all,
Brandon has no small bucks.
Do you own a truck or an SUV? There's one name to know, Catlin. From Lear toppers to trailer hitches, at Catlin, we do it all. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks. Need a toolbox? Come see the Cam Locker. Need floor mats? We carry WeatherTech. At Catlin, we carry quality products at a great price. Come see us today or call us at 354-8521.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
Established in 1919, you can count on Catlin.
AMCO Transmissions, the trusted experts in transmission repair for over 50 years, are also the right choice for all car repairs.
Yes, AMCO Transmissions, the name you know for fixing the most complicated part of your car, can take care of your brakes, tune-ups, belts and hoses, air conditioning, regular factory maintenance. They can fix anything.
Plus, at AMCO, if you think your car may need repairs, we'll perform a free multi-point inspection and let you make the decision. If another shop says you need a repair, stop. Then come to AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care for a free second opinion.
Why pay someone when AMCO will check it for free?
Don't trust your car to just anyone. Get it done right at any of our local family-operated Jacksonville area locations, including Orange Park, St. Augustine, Palatka, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Find the AMCO Center nearest you at AMCOJacksonville.com.
At participating centers, additional diagnostic charges may apply. See center for details. AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care, now partnered with Daniel Kids to help local families in need through our We Care Repair charitable initiative. AA MCO AMCO.
The whole 10 yards brought to you by Sears of Jacksonville on 92.5 FM. 1010XL is back. We are going to give you our game of the year here in a second. Free shirts though. 641-1010. First three callers get free t-shirts from us. And here's Fred Goff. All your embroidery needs. 904-645-9790. Here's Fred Goff. Give them a shout out. They made our shirts and they look great. Also, game of the year, Wale, who you got?
Believe it or not, it's Ohio State versus Northwestern. I think Northwestern is a team that has been very underrated the past few years, and if they give Ohio State some trouble, it could be interesting.
I like that. Ken Coulter's a man. Adrien.
November 30th, Ohio State, Michigan for the Big Ten.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Matt.
Saturday, November 2nd, Florida, Georgia. I'll be there. You'll be there. You'll be there. You'll be there. Everyone's going to be there.
I hope so. My game is, I talked about earlier, LSU, Georgia. I think that decides a lot. Well, obviously not divisional, but momentum, and could help one team be undefeated and give them a big loss. If you guys need TVs for the upcoming games, you need appliances, you need clothes for schools going back to school, you're going to have to hit up Sears of Jacksonville, 3 locations in Jacksonville. You can come see me at Regency. You can go see Ricky at the Avenues, or you can go see Mike Baglino out in Orange Park. Mattresses, appliances, washers and dryers. I don't know.
If I need a fridge, where would I go?
Sears.
Okay, but if I need back to school clothes, where would I go?
Sears.
What
right.
about new headphones for the show?
Sears. Right. You guys are catching on. I'm not sure what other national retailer gives you money for shopping with them, but Sears does that too. Shop your way rewards. It's a great thing. You guys should check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Tommy, do we have any more T-shirts left? We're done with T-shirts.
Done.
Okay, we're done. Thanks for calling in, guys. You guys will get them. I'm not sure how, but we'll set something up because I got to go to work.
We'll leave them out on the corner somewhere. On
Monday
the street.
through Friday, you can stop by here, 1010XL between business hours, and they'll you can talk to Miss Terry's at the desk, right? Yeah. Talk to Miss Terry.
9090 Hogan Road.
9090 Hogan Road. all of you loyal fans out there should know where that is. Wale, question?
All right. I think one last thing is we have the top 3 teams that this entire week we've been talking about college football and what team I should choose to root for the 2013 season.
Oh, yeah. Wale is getting a new team. Hashtag Wale's new team on Twitter. Who you got?
Well, it came down between Michigan, Florida State, or stay at UF. And we are staying at UF because you cannot leave your first love.
That's boring.
Florida Gators, I love you, even though we bicker and argue sometimes. But, hey, I'm here. 2013, let's do it.
Somewhere, Jacques Green is smiling.
Somewhere. In Valdosta.
That's right.
And Bulldog Country. You can catch us next Sunday here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. The whole 10 yards brought to you by Sears of Jacksonville.